That's the point that I want to make clear. I'm not picking on us, you know, I'm not at all. Like, I'm really, really just trying to wake us up. I really am. That's the point for me anyway. But yeah. Yeah, this situation with this guy, man, this Letitia James, the New York Attorney General, he had this character had her indicted, and he had her indicted because he has gone after everybody who has held him accountable, who has put his feet to the fire, who has called him, for who he is. He's gone after everybody, right in people's faces. Like, believe me, man, almost no one alive has ever seen anything like this before from this position, from someone in this position. This dude is acting like, if y'all are really paying attention, like in a real way, he's acting like Adolf Hitler in a real way, But, for a broader, more relatable fucking perspective, he's acting like a supervillain. He's acting like Lex Luthor, like a dumb Lex Luthor. If y'all paying attention.
What's funny is I would just think about how people get really rich and become like super villains. It's like they don't have no other recourse but to be like, you know what? People are fucked up and they don't know what they do. I know what to do with them. They be like, and I got the money to do it.
That's right. That's right.
This evil
That's
motherfucker.
Right. If people behave in a way like I was working on, and I think I'm nearly finished, bro. I'm nearly finished with this final copy edit on Bump's book. And I've you got to read shit over and over and over and over again and stuff like that to make sure shit is flowing and stuff like that. So, the more I read this book, the more I realize, the more I read, what I've written so far, the more I realize, like, being in the street and being heavy in the drug game, whatever, that was pretty fucking evil. Pretty fucking evil. And I never thought of myself as evil, ever. But the way that we in the pursuit, we being, hustlers, who were in the street heavy with drugs or whatever, the way that we pursue our goals and desires without, without regard, really without regard for the damage that it does is evil. It's evil. It is evil. And I guess you don't have to be an evil person to do evil things.
That's definitely
Right? So there was this one particular part where he was talking about the strength of this particular heroin that he was getting from one of his connects. And he was talking about how when you ride through, and I know exactly what he's talking about. When you ride through a neighborhood that you have your drug operations going on in, and you see hundreds of people milling around, lining up, to purchase your product, and you get this sense of accomplishment and satisfaction without even taking into consideration what it is you're actually contributing to, what you're participating in, what you're facilitating. You ever take it into consideration? And at the same time, consider yourself a good and moral person. And, morals are relative, right? There are different morals for a civilian than there are for a criminal. We have different moral, parameters, plain and simple, right? A civilian would think that it is a good thing to let the police know about a criminal act. They think that that's moral. And a criminal believes that it is immoral to let the police know about a criminal act. And within the context of those conditions, they're both right. everything and everybody. But when I thought about that, obviously I've seen that. I've had that experience where I ride through and I see a bunch of people lining up, running around like chickens with their head cut off, trying to find my crack or trying to find my heroin, and trying to buy my heroin, and it's just at the time and in the moment, you just think like, yeah, this is what I work for. This is what I've made the sacrifices for. This is what I take the risks I take for to achieve this. This is success. And it never occurred to me what I was contributing to. Never occurred to me. You know, as intelligent as I was, it never occurred to me. So when you liken that to these individuals, these Trumps and the likes, these Steve Millers and all these, like, believe me when I tell you, these people do not think that they're evil. These people do not think that what they're doing is wrong. They have whatever their moral parameters are, whatever their priorities are, those are what they have in the forefront of their minds. That's what they're driven by. That's what they're motivated by. And any type of damage that may be incurred, as far as they're concerned, it's acceptable and it's okay, because if you were in line with what they believe to be right and correct, you wouldn't be adversely affected. That means that, in some way, shape, form, or fashion, you're on the wrong side of things. Kind of the way drug dealers think. It's like, yeah, I see you, all messed up from these drugs you're using, whatever, but you could just as easily not be using those fucking drugs. You could just as easily, be on this side of the bag. You ain't got to be on that side of the bag. And if you had decided to be on this side of the bag, like I did, you wouldn't be in the situation you're in. I don't feel any kind of way about that as a drug dealer. That's what you're thinking. I don't feel any kind of way about that. And I've never been one of those drug dealers that said, well, if I don't sell it to him, somebody else will. I've never been like that. Ever, ever, ever in my life. Never been like that. I understood that, this is not I never thought that drug dealing was a good thing. You know what I mean? But I never thought of myself as a bad person for doing it.
I used
I
to
think
say
these
that to
guys are the
people all
same.
the time. I used to say that to people all the time. I was like, I know people that done things that people would consider bad, but they're not bad people. I love them and I know they're good. And people that know them would tell you how great and how amazing of a person they are and how loving and how caring they are. What they do in their profession is just just the nature of what they're doing. It doesn't define who they are as a person. I could look at a
This
person that sold drugs and grandfather was a hitman and this my uncle was a junkie and I respect and love them all, so I ain't judging you. So when you do some bullshit, I ain't judging you because of what you're doing. I'm judging you because you just on bullshit.
it's a fact. It's a fact. I think the importance of having these sorts of engagements is not in making moral judgments about people and their behaviors, but in in engaging in a level of intelligent, critical assessment, so that you can you can evolve, you can develop, you can grow. I think that if you don't really think seriously about anything ever, at some point your ability to do it begins to wane. It begins to diminish, and you're not, at a certain point, you're not capable of critical thought. You're not capable of assessing situations in an objective way, which means to me, you're not capable of learning. And I feel as though that's the kind of general condition of a great many of our collective, of our brethren and our sisters. I think just again, from these conversations that I'm having with different people and listening to people have conversations, I'm not seeing a whole lot of depth of processing. It's all very, very superficial. It's almost as though somebody took a bunch, how you see homeless people walking down the street, some homeless people you see walking down the street, especially in LA, especially on Skid Row. Ooh, the shit I've seen on Skid Row. Walking down the street talking to themselves, just saying irreverent shit, having a conversation with themselves. It's almost as though they took a bunch of those people who are having conversations with themselves and put them together. And from a distance, it looks like they're talking to each other. But when you get in close, you realize they're all having completely different fucking conversations. And for the most part, the individual engagements they're having with themselves are not cognizant. They're talking about monkeys and the moon and trees and lighters. And so and maybe it's just me, but that's how it sounds to me. And I'm observing conversations. There have been so many times that I've been speaking to somebody and I realize either you're not listening to what I'm saying or you don't understand what I'm saying. And you don't have the wherewithal or the confidence or self-respect or whatever the fuck to go, wait up, bro. What is that you just said? What does that mean? I've never heard that before. Can you explain that? It's like they try to figure out ways to keep you from noticing that they can't keep pace with the engagement, rather than trying to sharpen their blade. To sharpen a blade, it requires friction. It requires some hard contact. Motherfuckers don't want to have that hard contact. Right. They want to have that hard contact, And like with my nephews, it's like if you don't have, if at some point in that engagement, I had to grab the 5-year-old and go, hey, because it's almost like you're trying to bullshit me at this point. Yeah, we done went from, the Hulk to the cabbage, to who knows fucking what now. Listen to me. Behave your motherfucking self. You understand? That's my point. My point is show character, have character. And of course, I'm going to have to say this to you 1,000 more times before it's all said and done, before it actually penetrates you. But, this is the beginning of that. It's like when y'all were little and I came in there and woke you up in the middle of the night and said, hey, consequences. Say this word. Spell this word. This is how you spell it. Say it. Spell it. Say it. Y'all were like, consequences, consequences. And I was like, say it again. Say it again. Say it again. And y'all probably thought, this nigga crazy. This nigga is crazy. And I was planting seeds for, something that needed to grow in order for you to be able to have a better chance of making it in this existence. Because if you do not understand consequences, there's a whole bunch of other branches of that tree that you won't ever have access to. You have to understand this foundational premise, consequences. For them in that moment, it was strength of character, you know, and it was about them being honest. Don't stop lying, stop telling little lies, because I just seen you do what you just said you didn't do. I was looking at you do it. Don't be like that. And of course, I'm not beating them over the head because they are 5 years old. They're developing people. But it's never too early. It's almost never too early to start planting these seeds, especially for young black males, because it doesn't take much for a young black male to be completely knocked off of that precarious balance of life, like this young football player kid that I just recently started seeing pop up on my feeds all of a sudden, who killed himself because he was accused of having caused an accident that in actuality turned out he did not cause. But some cop made some woman who was a witness or participant in that accident make a false statement implicating him. And from what I could tell, this young man was well on his way, had done everything he was supposed to do, behaved in every manner he was supposed to, did all the things he was supposed to do to achieve his desired goals, and then had this one situation completely throw his whole thing off, that precarious balance, doing everything he's supposed to. And then this one thing of which he was not even guilty throws his whole shit off. And with all that his parents and his caregivers may have invested in him and then taught him and told him, there was obviously something that they missed because he killed himself. So there was something essential that they missed. And if I had to guess, I would say it had to do with his own value, independent of anyone's opinion, of any accolade or achievement or acquisition of any material thing, that none of those things mean anything if he is not well within himself, if he does not feel well about himself. If your whole existence is predicated on how other people see you and what you have and what you can get, the moment that those things are threatened or taken away from you, you have no center, you have no tether, nothing to keep you attached to this existence, despite what this existence may put upon you. Remember, I talked about this before, the tethers. The tethers are the connections that keep you grounded to this reality, despite the hardships that you will invariably encounter in life, no matter what your life is or where you come from. Regardless of anything, you could be born to successful wealth, all that stuff. And if you don't have that understanding that the outside only matters as much as the inside matters, then at the point at which you encounter hardships, you'll get washed away. This is why I said many times before, I believe that there's going to be a significant increase in this self-unaliving thing. I hate fucking saying that shit, but that other word is a pretty fucking ugly word. It conjures up really disparaging ideas. So I said that I believe, and I've said this multiple times in these engagements that we have, son, I believe there's going to be a lot more of it. I believe there's going to be a lot more, and I believe the numbers are going to increase significantly in the next few years. I believe the numbers have already increased, but who is tracking the degree of unalivings that are happening on average with young black people. Like I'm sure somebody is, but nobody with any significance, nobody who has any level of platform that would be able to put that information out there in a way that people in general be like aware of it because nobody cares. Who cares?
I'm working on a way to like help counter that, like with you know how they got like unaliving hotlines. I think unaliving hotlines should be phone sex. Like if they start doing that,
You break why you kind of
you hear me now?
yeah, you don't sound as strong or clear.
That's right. Oh, what about now?
That's yeah.
Yeah, I'm probably in the wrong part of the mic. I got you right now. No, I was saying unaliving hotlines. I said instead of me just being an unalive hotline when you call and tell them, yo, I'm about to unalive myself, they should make them do phone sex because ain't nobody trying to unalive themselves if the lady trying to give you head.
That is, I, w- I, w- I mean, theoretically, you would think that that makes sense. Theoretically,
Because it's like,
but
hey, I'm about to knock myself, I'm about to whack myself. She's like, hey, how about I whack you? It's like, all right, where you at? It's like we on a whole new mission. Like you said to people, even if you gassing him, like at least we could hold him off until we get him some help. At least she
you
could
know,
get that dopamine up. She'll learn. At least get that dopamine up. That dopamine to help.
you're right. You're absolutely right about that. You're absolutely right about that. As crazy as that may sound, I think that that would actually have a positive effect for real, for real. I mean, for real, like, right? And they call about, yeah, I, I just can't do it no more, and people going through stuff, people are going through some real stuff, bro. Like, you got cats who are losing everybody that they care about in a year or two,
Oh yeah.
brother died, mother died, grandmother died. This one goes to jail. That one ODs. In like, a year, motherfucker lose like six people. Basically, they go from having a relatively big family to basically having no family because there's always one or two people who kind of keep the family kind of together, and something happens to them, and the family just dissipates, and the closeness is gone, and that's important. People, if you grow up in a situation like that, it's all you know, and you may not be aware of what the connective tissue is. This is just what it is. Auntie's always around, cousins always in and out the house, brothers and sisters coming through, whatever. And you don't realize that there's a nucleus because no one explained that to you. You just were born into this circumstance. And then something happens to that person, to that nucleus. And all that was connected to that nucleus just fades away, and then you find yourself in a completely alien circumstance, something you've never had to deal with or contend with before in your life, and all of a sudden it's your reality. If you don't have the necessary insights and information to be able to adapt to the new circumstances, it can have a profound impact on your psycho-emotional state. You can become unstable. Like, I would imagine the young man whom the football player, I would imagine for him to have achieved to the level that he did because he was well on. Like, I saw a video which he was talking to two of his friends who had been drafted in the NFL, and they were like, "We'll see you next year."
Oh yeah. He was going top 10.
So I would imagine he was a pretty disciplined, focused, consistent, young man. And when you operate in that way, you're accustomed to seeing results from your behaviors, results from your actions. You do a thing and you get a thing because you did the thing. And you believe that that's how life works. But then when something happens and you no longer are seeing that kind of response where you do a thing and then the desired outcome results, it shakes the foundation of your understanding of how reality works. If you don't have that adaptability, where if something isn't where it usually is, you know how to pivot, then something that can seem very solid, a person who can seem very solid can suddenly become very unstable. And obviously, if a person takes their own life, especially a person who's invested so much into their life, that is definitely a significant degree of instability. You've become quite unstable. I would imagine that to the people around him, he probably, leading up to that act, seemed like an almost completely different person. Probably 180 degrees difference, maybe. Because I have heard a lot of stories about people who had done that, not appearing to anybody, because I mean, we know people don't really fucking pay attention. That's why people have conversations where everybody's talking at the same time, and although they're supposed to be in the same conversation, like nobody's really talking about the same thing because people don't fucking pay attention. So people have commonly said, he seemed perfectly fine. Yeah, I couldn't tell there was anything wrong. And then all of a sudden the person knocks himself off. Like, I don't know. I mean, if you were really actually paying attention the way you think you were, then you probably would have saw that there was definitely something awry. Something was off. Yeah. But this drives me nuts. Say something.
Something. Can you
Okay,
hear
there you
me?
go. Yes, sir.
Oh,
Yes, sir. Yes,
yeah.
coming in loud and clear.
You
Coming
don't
in loud and clear.
stop. And it's
Uh-oh.
187 on
Uh-oh.
Ha, 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 ha.
Medication time. You taking your meds? I mean, there's so many things to discuss, man. And like I said in our previous live on Tuesday, that all these conversations for me are about addressing issues that actually matter that I don't see enough people addressing. There are some progressive, melanated brothers and sisters out there who are really on elevation and inspiration and the dissemination of information. Like they really are on it, like for real, for real. But they are outnumbered by those who are the opposite of that, outnumbered by 1,000 to 1, because being the opposite of that is the path of least resistance. It's easier. It's easier to appeal to the low vibration. You'll get quicker responses and encouragement and support from being ignorant or simple-minded or backward or debaucherous than you will from being informative and encouraging and insightful. I feel like if you can't, and I've been so much a part for so long, a part of the harm, that I feel like if you can't help, then you really should shut the fuck up. You really should shut the fuck up. Oh, but it's entertainment, people want to have fun, whatever. Fun at the cost of your future, at the cost of your family, at the cost of your sanity is not fun. That's not fun. That's idiocy. That's stupidity. And it's cowardice. You're a fucking coward. Because you don't want to stand up and face life and deal with life on life's terms. You're a coward. So you want to close out some kind of way?
Did a comedy show last night. I seen Pippin Ken. He pulled up.
Oh, well, I was talking to Terry Cream about Ken this afternoon.
Yeah.
Mr. Kenny Ivy. Shout out to Kenny Ivy.
One of the comedians, she tried to ask me if he wanted to buy some.
Huh? You breaking up?
One of the female comedians, she asked him if he want to buy some pussy. And
nah, I know she did. I know she did not violate like that and ask Pimpin', was Pimpin' gonna purchase pussy? What kind of bullshit is she on? She wanted to get. Did he put the powder on his head?
He like, no, baby, no. We was just looking like, bitch, he'll sell you. Like he'll have.
But he'll have you buying your own pussy. Are you kidding me? Let me tell you something. One of my favorite psychological deep psychology books is Transactional Analysis. That's not the full title. Transactional Analysis. Transactional Analysis book. Pimpin' King gave me this book about maybe I think is this it? He gave me this book. It's a New Theory Practice of Transactional Analysis in Organizations. No, not that one. He gave me a book, Transactional Analysis in Psychotherapy. Yeah. Pimpin' King gave me that book about 16 years ago. This is a very, very, very heavy book, as the title would imply. He is definitely not the one. He ain't the one. He's not the fucking one. Not at all. From A to Z, Pimpin' Ken is, I mean, he's an acolyte. Noble Drew Ali. Like, people let it get them fucked up, Oh, Kavario, he was in the street, he was a drug dealer, he was gonna, all this shit, whatever, you know what I mean? So he's just a dumb wild nigga. Negative. Pimpin' Ken, this nigga call himself Pimpin' Ken, he's a pimp and this and the other. They're ignorant. That's what y'all would like to think. But not at all. Self-education. Self-education is probably the most revolutionary act that you can commit. For real. For lack of broader, better opportunity, a large majority of the gangsters that gave way to me and to Ken were really revolutionaries. Really revolutionaries. They just weren't on the political shit. But they were very revolutionary in that they were going to do what they were going to do and fuck that system, because that system is fucking you. And that's my piece. Appreciate you, son. I love you, man.
Love you
and
too.
We're going to keep pushing, man. Let's keep pushing. And I'm gonna do my workout, and then if you're free, were you doing something tonight? You gonna be somewhere tonight, performing anything?
I might chill. I might just go to the gym and just chill tonight.
I couldn't make out what you said.
I said I might just go to the gym and chill tonight.
Okay. So I'll tap back in with you, and we can talk about how we're gonna do this going forward.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. And as for the rest of you guys, remember to think critically so that you may live wonderfully. The Mind Plug out. Peace.